Hello, my name is Georgia. On this video we're going to be learning about how to make and use a timetable for your child at home. A timetable is a visual way of showing your child what is going to happen in their day. A timetable can look like this. This is made of symbols. If you have symbols at home, that's great, you go for it. If not, it's okay. You can use drawings. Simply just need a pen and paper. You can make a checklist, or you can make single cards by drawing and writing the name of each activity. You can have the whole day from morning until bedtime, or you can split the day in half. First, you put up the activities that are gonna take place in the morning up to lunchtime. Then when those are finished, you update the timetable by putting up the afternoon activities. If you think this is too overwhelming for your child, you start simple. You only put up 2 activities at a time. One that is happening now and one that is going to happen next. Once your child gets confident, then you can slowly start building up by adding more activities. If you feel that your child may find it difficult to access symbols or drawings, then you could use objects instead. For example, you can have a fork. Show your child that it's time for lunch. And you can use a bowl to indicate that it's time to play with toys. A timetable is a sequence. Here I use the vertical sequence. I put at the top the activity that's going to happen first in the day, and at the bottom the last activity of the day. Timetable has to be followed as a sequence. By looking at the timetable, your child knows, understands and predicts what their day is going to look like. They have structure and routine, and therefore they feel less anxious. They are learning to be more organized by learning how to use a system. They also become more independent. They don't need someone telling them verbally what to do. They can just follow the timetable. The first thing to do is to choose what suits your child best. Before you choose, I advise that you ask a professional. That can be either the class teacher or the speech therapist of your child. You need to remember to be consistent. Once you get started with using timetable, then you have to do this every day. On the timetable, you put the exact activities of the day. Once you write something here, it has to be followed through. You should not add or remove activities as the day goes. That can be quite confusing for your child. You need to involve your child in the process. I advise that you do this as first thing when you start the day. You could get your child to write or trace the activities on their timetable. You can use this as an opportunity to teach days of the week. You can simply draw a box and write what day. I'd like to emphasize that it's you who chooses the activities that go on the timetable and not your child. You need to be mindful of the way you sequence the activities when you put the timetable together. One good tip to follow is to have fun activities after work-related activities. For example, having iPad after reading. In that way your child knows, I can do my reading first and then I can have the iPad. So then the timetable is easier to follow and more fun. The timetable has to be on display so that your child can see and access it at any time in the day. Pick a spot like the wall and have the timetable on that same place every day. When you put it up on the wall, consider the height. It has to be at your child's level so it's easy for them to read. You can label it. You do so by using a photograph and sticking it at the top, or you can use drawings. Ensure that your child interacts with the timetable regularly throughout the day. You can do that by using prompt phrases. You can ask, "What's next?" And then you get your child to walk up to the timetable and check what's next. By transitions, we mean moving from one activity to another. Each activity has to have a clear start. So first, you guide your child to the timetable so they can read the name of the activity, or you read it for them by saying, "It's time for breakfast." I really like using transition songs. You can choose a song that talks about lunchtime and play that every time you transition to lunch. And if possible, you do the same for the rest of the activities on the timetable. Each activity has to have a clear end. When an activity is about to finish, especially when it comes to activities that your child really likes, you have to give them a warning. For example, if your child is playing with toys, you can say 5 more minutes for toys. And later on you say 3 more minutes for toys. And at the end you say, count down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, toys have finished. And then you can get your child to help you to tidy up. After you tidy up, you guide your child to the timetable. If you're using a checklist, you can tick off or cross out the activity. If you're using a timetable like this, you have to remove the activity that has finished and you can put it in a finished box. Timetable is a fantastic tool to use at home. Bear in mind that every child is unique. For the timetable to work effectively, it has to be individualized and adjusted to a child's needs. There's so much advice out there on what to do at home, what strategies to follow, what resources to use. Before you as a parent choose, I'd like you to ask yourself the question, what does my child need? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Video has finished. Goodbye.